Hey guys, it's Channel Weird. We're back. It's been a long time, right? And the reason why is because we've been enjoying the holidays, languishing and doing absolutely nothing, but sitting in front of the TV and watching stale holiday specials. It's time to get on with our world. It's 2022. Very excited to be here, guys. Really excited. So, being in Portland and knowing that Portland is the, place for the weirdness, sometimes you get a disturbance in the force. And when you feel the disturbance in the force, you wonder what has happened to bring that disturbance into the force. And I was talking to Ron Patton, my producer, and I was saying, something's up. Something's going on. Portland's changing. And it's because there's a person that I met many UFO conferences, and she does a podcast called Shift Happens.
It's a live radio.
It's live radio. Yes. Okay, she does live radio. Cortana is with us.
Yes.
Hi, Cortana.
Hi, Clyde. Yeah. I have missed you.
Yeah, I've missed you too. How long has it been? It's been like, 2 years now? We haven't seen each other?
Yeah.
And you haven't changed a bit, and I'm just getting older.
I know. I'm a space elf. Apparently, a 12th dimensional space elf. But we'll get into that later.
Certainly. Yeah, many people don't know, but, Cortana is an experiencer.
Yes.
She has had experiences with the netherworlds and the realms of who knows what. And we've had, the minute she walked in the door, we were catching up on some of the events in her life. She's had some very high highs and very low lows, but she's recovered. And it's like I was telling her before she came into the studio today. I said, whenever you're around, your energy precedes you.
Why, thank you.
It's serious.
I needed to hear that.
Well,
I really needed to hear that.
Well, I think a lot of people, you even heard the applause in the room from our producers. They are so glad you're here. Now, did you come from the East Coast to Portland?
Yes. So, after a series of tragic events in my life, I ended up getting stranded. My UFO ended up getting stranded on the East Coast to be with my family. And so I was there for the duration of the lockdown, and then, it just wasn't panning out for me. I wasn't feeling at home. I wasn't feeling like I had really a purpose or anything like that. And so then I came out here to Portland because, it is weird and I am weird. And, also because my friend just brought me out here. He was like, come to Portland, be as weird and amazing as you want here, and that's what I'm doing here now.
Well, it's good that you're here because I when I heard that you were in town and I heard you were here, I figured it's a good fit for you.
Yes.
It's not just that you're weird. It's just that you're a personality. Whenever we go to UFO conferences or whenever we are doing what we do, and the lunacy that's there, you stand out.
I don't want to say I know, right? But I know, I just
it just comes natural to you. What do you? Do you think that your experiences that you've had in the paranormal world have accentuated that energy
so much ever since I was a child?
Yes.
Ever since.
Tell us about that.
It was never really one of those awakening moments. It was a series of multiple awakenings, but it was more like, I was raised in a family where the spiritual was acknowledged, kind of a Pentecostal situation,
praise the Lord,
the woo-woo talk and the all that, which oddly sounds like light language too. So I have a theory there. But so those things about talking about dreams or premonitions or, speaking to spirits or acknowledging that there are extra dimensional entities that, might even be on a negative vibration. But they didn't say that back in time. It was the devil, blah, blah, or it was angels, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But I did grow up in that background. I'm Hispanic and Apache. So it is this clash of cultures,
maybe even a clash of spiritualities when you think about it, because you have
much.
Like you say, you're Apache and you're Latino, and you've got that mix, and so you've got the very strong faith that you have in the Latino community, and then you
Yes.
have that old school,
Mhm.
down to earth,
Mhm.
rooted type of spirituality.
Yes,
Maybe
right.
that's why that you convey that, because you seem to have both. You have a devil on one shoulder, and an angel on the other shoulder, which certainly talks to you all the time. I know this.
Oh, so much. Oh, I just yeah, and I mean, I'm wearing, my yin and yang balance symbol right now because yeah, you were like there is a disturbance in the force.
Definitely so. And so this spirituality that seems to be a clash. I don't know. Are they
Yes, it
congruent, or
is.
is it a
It
clash?
is. Well, for a long time, it was a clash because also my father was raised Catholic and my mother was raised devout Pentecost. Well, not really devout because she had her Madonna phase.
Yeah, exactly.
She's a bit of a punk rocker / Madonna kind of material girl back in the day. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, imagine me but slightly taller and just even more wacky.
Right. Exactly.
um, and so but she was still had that, and she's Apache, and so my heritage, my particular group of the Chiricahua Apaches, we were actually never put onto a reservation.
Hmm.
We actually escaped. We blended in with the Hispanic population that was there, the Hispanos, the landowners and all that came over, probably around the 1600s, 1700s ish. And so we had to and so, as the genocide was happening, we had to adapt. But at the cost of adapting, we had to forego our indigenous religion and our way of life, our family structure, how, our basic interactions, our entire heritage.
Isn't it odd that they try to dismantle those foundations of faith, those foundations
That
of family, and then they're doing that now, don't you
Yes,
think?
exactly.
It's always when they
Exactly.
want devotion to an oligarchy, or when they want devotion to a technocracy, they want to
Yes.
destroy the family.
Oh, yeah, yeah, exactly. How do you disempower people? You tell them that their indigenous ways are wrong, or their traditions are wrong, or the devil. You insert fear, you insert
You create the
violence.
other.
You create the other, the us or me situation, and then you take away the foundations of their structure, which is their spirituality, which is their faith in
Their
their own.
history, their nostalgia,
Yes,
all of that.
all of
We
that.
erase it, we cancel it, and immediately we're stuck
and
because we don't have anywhere else to
and
go.
we put in place, your this other faith that was from a different people, made for a different climate and
Well,
culture
you know that they've been
and
talking about
thing.
this reset, and they're saying they want to have a new narrative. They want to create a new narrative. And that
Oh,
narrative is just, it
as
doesn't seem like it's going to be
I mean,
beautiful or spiritual or anything.
I've been in, out, and around the game industry for like 14 years or so, and it's all about narrative.
You're a game creator
There,
and you're
yes,
a
yeah, I'm a
3D
3D
artist,
artist, yes,
and you're a game creator, and you're
and uh, and so I know how these systems work, and but back to like my background, so it's like at the sacrifice of our own heritage, we have to replace it, we have to put it, so I wasn't as a child, I wasn't raised in that indigenous, you know faith of honoring the spirits of my ancestors, or practicing, their, warrior arts or their shamanistic arts. I had to find this stuff out all for myself
right.
way back then. But to my parents, and neither was I raised Catholic either, because my mom clashed with, their religions clashed,
Hmm.
and they eventually got divorced. And my mom, and on my mom's side of the family, like they are all very, very spiritually charged people. There's just a Pentecostal, like that's how they view the world, and the other worldly realms of our reality. That's their lens. Um, but like I have seen, like hands-on healing. I have seen exorcisms. I have seen, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
And so we are all gifted in that. So, and
Well,
then
yeah, I
it
mean,
clashed with,
many people have gifts,
yeah,
but they don't know how to utilize them.
yes,
And if they find their gift, they should utilize and magnify
yes,
those gifts. Some people have the power of healing, some people have the power of spirituality, precognition,
hmm,
all these things. And I think that one of the things that most people don't know about you is that you have focused on those things.
oh, so
That you've
much,
reached into those
like,
things, and you've made it your purpose to try and share that with people.
yeah, and because I know that it's so, well, I mean, it's been kind of difficult to talk about with people who weren't, you know, who weren't privy to this kind of stuff,
Hmm.
and being a bit of an anomaly, growing up, being a bit of, being misdiagnosed as things like,
Well,
with depression or with a certain manicness, ADHD. But, while I do acknowledge that ADHD does exist, but Mary Rodwell has an awesome theory about, what we used to call indigo children,
mhm.
you know, next evolution of humanity kind of stuff, because our brains work differently
Well,
and on
working
a faster
it's
pace.
kind of like a Cambian reality where there are chosen ones among
Hmm.
us that certainly have this ability to grasp onto this ethereal realm,
Yes.
and they're able to reach out and, like I say, sending out a signal without really knowing it, and
Yes.
that's you.
Yes.
Because I've known you long enough to know that that's you. Because I remember I was sitting in the studio just now, in the other studio, and I didn't know you were going to be in studio today.
Uh-huh.
I thought we were going to do like a phone Zoom, whatever the
Hmm.
hell. And all of a sudden, I said to Ron, I said, "Is she going to be in studio today?" He says, "Why is that?" I says, "Because I think she's here. I feel like something."
Yeah.
Sure enough, you're here, and you were in the other hallway, and I knew you were here because I could feel you coming, and I don't think people understand that you have that ability, and it's scary. In fact, I remember when Ron was saying something to the effect, he says, "We're going to bring on Cortana." I go, "Oh, that's Cortana. Oh my God, what am I going to do?" I mean, it wasn't bad to
That's what
say,
a
"Oh,
lot of
it's
people say,
Cortana,"
especially lately.
but no, it's not a bad thing. It's like, "Oh, it's Cortana. How am I going?" I don't even need caffeine. Why am I drinking coffee, for crying
Boom.
out loud? But yeah, it's just I don't know if you know the
I'm a giant woman in just this
yeah,
tiny
you're a
little
giant woman, a
little
tiny
fun
body. But
size
no, it's
package.
yeah, it's a spiritual thing, I think. I think that, like you said, I think that there's a mixture here of, one particular spirituality and another spirituality coming together, and that you've absorbed it like a
Yes.
sponge, I guess. It's like
Yes.
you're attracting it.
And I've been so I've studied witchcraft and the occult ever since I was like about maybe 10, 11 years
Hmm.
old.
Hmm.
That's about the age. But like, also, I was just like, I read the Bible and I was like, there are entirely too many he's in this book and not enough she's,
Okay, yeah, yeah. So is
there's.
witchcraft something
And
that you're
so
getting
back in the day,
right?
I believe, no offense to Wiccans. I love you guys. I love you Wiccans. But, it was like, the training wheels of getting into the occult. And then I delved deeper and deeper and deeper into studying the esoteric. And then, like, I discovered Art Bell back in the day, and I was like, yep, that's my shift.
Right,
That is my shift. These
right, exactly.
people are, yeah, they know, because I mean, so imagine being like this, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19,
Yeah.
you know, listening to Art Bell and George Norrie back in the day, and George Knapp. Oh, who's that other one that was Ian Punnett? All them,
Hmm.
listening to all them back in the day, while I'm studying and trying to just get through high school
Yeah.
while being, this sort of gothy girl, this sort of, mystical little tarot reading,
Yeah.
like anomaly in
Yeah.
this absolutely cliche high school, that looked like a prison. Talk about mind control
How
programming
do you how
there,
did you
dude. It was in California, dude, Central
all right,
Valley.
when you were in high school, how did you deal with having one foot in the esoteric and one foot in reality?
I didn't.
You didn't.
I didn't. I was in I well, I was a dancer too. I did ballet for, you know, while I was in high school, and channeled a lot of my energy into art and into studying witchcraft and the occult and UFOs and reading and being around just, my own little friend group and stuff. But I was not coping well. It was a really sad kind of time for me. And a lot of people, especially at that time back in the day, it's the 2000s, right? It doesn't seem like it's back in the day, but now it's back in the day.
Back in the day, yeah.
And
Things have changed so much.
we were a lot less accepting of these types of esoteric topics. Still, we were gaining a little bit of traction.
Well, 30 years ago, I mean,
know.
what? Now people go into haunted houses and they do
Yeah,
investigate. They would have
yeah,
done that 30
like-
years ago, 40 years ago.
Yeah, ghost hunting.
What the hell? Yeah, Cortana's with us.
Ghost hunting.
Ghost hunting. We're gonna be back with Channel Weird and talk more with Cortana about her life and why she's so weird and energetic. We'll be back with more. Don't go away.
Because I'm the queen of the universe.
On the phone with me is Ronnie from getthetea.com. Hey, Ronnie, it is the tea that makes you go, I know this because I use it. My favorite is pomegranate. What kind of flavors are there to choose from with this wonderful tea?
You can do pomegranate. You can do just the straight, which is real good. And also we have a mint, a peppermint. People really love that one too. And we have a couple new flavors on the way, which I will not discuss yet, but they're coming.
You know, a lot of people don't know that peppermint is a very, very good supplement to keep the stomach happy. It relaxes the intestines, and once again, it makes you feel better because it allows them to move around and get that stuff out of you, that bad stuff out of you.
Absolutely. This is a digest mover. So people have a hard time digesting stuff, or you get something stuck, or maybe you're a real heavy meat eater. The tea is wonderful. That's why it's tagline, the tea that makes you go.
If I want my life to change and get the tea, where do I go to get it?
Getthetea.com. That's getthetea, TEA.com.
Fantastic. It's a well-known fact that controversial talk show hosts have recently been censored and even banned on the internet by corporate and political interests. Hey guys, it's Clyde Lewis from Ground Zero. And in order to counter the suppression of information, we've decided to create our own private digital playground called Aftermath. It's an exclusive online multimedia library featuring a social media platform, videos, audio clips, archive shows, research groups, documents, and a news aggregator. In addition, we're hosting other Ground Zero-friendly podcasts like Conspirafact with Wes and Bill, Into the Microcosm with Jimmy Jean, Parawareness with Mr. Gates and Isaac Weishaupt, Opposing Perspective with James Ponder, The Infinite Fringe with Billy Ray Valentine, and several more shows. Mobile apps for Android and Apple are available too. The monthly subscription for Aftermath is only $10 a month. And don't forget to check out the yearly specials, including the Friends and Family Pass with one main account and 3 sub-accounts. Sign up now by going to aftermath.media. Again, that's aftermath.media.
Ground Zero with Clyde Lewis, live Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific. But what happens when you miss an episode? Aftermath.fm is the official free streaming network of Ground Zero, featuring some of the top voices in paranormal and parapolitical radio and podcasts, such as The Leo Zagami Show, Into the Microcosm with Jimmy Jean, The Secret Teachings with Ryan Gable, The Kev Baker Show, The Infinite Fringe with Billy Ray Valentine, and much, much more. What are you waiting for? Head on over to aftermath.fm right now and get complete on-demand access to the Ground Zero archives, as well as the works of a dozen other hosts. Sign up right now and get complete access to our study groups, videos, and document archives, and connect with other listeners on our private social media network. Aftermath.fm, home of quality counterculture talk radio. Aftermath.fm.
It's the first Channel Weird of 2022. I'm Clyde Lewis. With me is Cortana, and we were having a great conversation about the confluence of spiritualities between Catholic Pentecostal upbringing and old school Apache Earth type of religion, and how it's brought her on a journey of self-discovery, paranormal.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of esoteric experiences. What was your first? I mean, you were talking about Wicca, and you were talking about witchcraft, and you're studying witchcraft, and so usually when people are getting into the esoterics and they learn about the power of what is inside you and bring forward those types of things.
Yes.
What was your first experience with regard to, I guess, coming in contact with something greater than you, or something like I don't even know if I want to call them aliens, spiritual beings, whatever you want to call them?
Oh my God. First?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if it's first, but I do remember I was in my room, and with the house that I was living at with my father at the time, and I was a teenager. Well, there were orbs that like came into the house and around the windows,
Mhm.
and projecting on the walls, and like even my mom saw this kind of a thing, and that was like really one of the more vivid times that uh, from my early, teenhood, I guess,
Mhm.
that I know for a fact. But then there were also things like, because my mom, she raised us to be very empathic.
Yeah.
So maybe actually, I mean, this is actually triggering, some things where like we were always like, well, I feel this. Her nickname was Deanna Troy, basically, because like in Star Trek, she was very empathic and psychic and intuitive. Like she knew how to read a person or read a situation, and then she's just like, boom, 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 this is going to happen, or I had a dream that. So she always taught me and my little sisters to trust our feelings. And so that was just like a second nature thing. So that's one of the reasons why I'm just like, well, I don't know if it's like the first time, but I always just felt a very, very, deep connection to nature, and to presences of like ghosts, like phenomena or spirits.
Mhm.
um
What about extraterrestrial intelligence?
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, please.
Because one of my most vivid memories of ET experiences was during my first marriage. We were young, we were really young. And we were in Norfolk, Virginia. And so I was taking a nap. And then I woke up. And there were at least 5 grays around my bed, like poking me. Like I felt this, and I got up, and I'm like, well, I actually cussed them out and drove them out of my room because I had to work that night.
Right.
But I was like, that, and it was in broad daylight. Like this didn't seem like a night terror or anything. It was
Right.
just like I was tense. I was like, oh my God. And there have been other experiences where I've also felt, like out of body experiences that I had been experiencing since my childhood, like
Mhm.
sleep paralysis too, or, like the kind of the shadow figure phenomena. So you know what? Yeah, really, because you become so used to it when it's just around all the time. So
Mhm.
it's like, well, yeah,
Well, even scientists are coming
the
up with quantum explanations for all this, like
yes,
superposition, and you can be in 2 places at once. Humans can even haunt places and
yes.
still be alive. I don't think people understand that
Oh,
There are ghosts
completely
that aren't dead people. There are ghosts that are living people.
Well, because we resonate energy, and I
Right.
think that energy leaves an imprint onto absolutely everything
Right.
around it. So there could be a loop type recording of you.
I would say, yeah.
at a location.
I'm learning a lot about the idea of the Mobius strip
Yes.
and the Ouroboros
Mhm.
and the continuation of life, the continuation of going through the same steps and
Yes.
everything, and you have to learn something in the process. Otherwise, you're condemned to travel in that infinity loop.
I've been, yes. I mean, my last name's Infinity, for
Yeah.
duck's sake.
Yeah.
But like, so with all that massive upbringing, all of that, then I guess I'm one of the rare people where it was normalized. So I'm like, oh yeah, little ghost-like tendrils coming out of the wall. That just happens.
Yeah.
And so what was the anomaly for me growing up as well as going in around the paranormal type communities and stuff was like, oh, I mean, this is an anomaly to you? Or, people asking me like, oh, how do you astral project? How do you do how do you have an out body experience or lucid dream? And I'm just like, I don't know, do it.
Well, I did a show about this a while back. It's called the Troxler effect.
Mhm.
And what it is that when your brain tunes out certain things because you take them for granted that they're around you. Like, for example, I'm wearing socks right now.
Mhm.
Okay. I don't think about the fact that I'm wearing socks. I mean, you put them on in the morning and then they're on, and you don't think that you're wearing them until somebody says, oh, you have black socks on today. And you're like, oh yeah, I'm wearing socks, or you're wearing pants and you don't even think about that you're wearing pants or you're wearing a shirt or whatever. And until somebody points it out to you. And I believe that we are having a Troxler effect with regard to the idea that there are things around us.
Yes.
And until somebody points out that they're there and shows you that they're there, people don't figure it out. And so that's why it's hard for people to believe that anything paranormal exists or anything in a different dimension exists or a multiverse exists, is because they are not being shown how it's done. And until they see it, even then, seeing it's not always believing. It'd be a hallucination. Yeah. And that's why the Troxler effect, you got to learn about it, because you can learn how to differentiate between what's hallucination and what's reality. But in the process, your brain still registers it as a real event.
Mm-hmm. And then when you grow up in a culture that acknowledges that, and then you're thrust into the world,
right?
What happens?
Well, a lot of people forget the religious upbringing is supernatural.
Exactly. Or they forget, I guess, whereas, in certain attempts to mask certain behaviors, I guess, that would normally be culturally acceptable, we just start taking pieces of ourself and our souls off, and I say, I'm talking about this today because I just kind of want, I believe my generation, and I guess the Gen Zers as well, because I'm us filthy millennials, will blame us for everything. But
right.
like, I believe we were able to at least have an intrinsic knowing, like yes, these things do exist. These things are happening. There are abductions or ET contact or just space, or just, craft, or even, extra dimensional or terrestrial entities.
There's a
are
move.
A real thing.
Yeah, there's a move. To discuss this,
because we grew up with things, like the X-Files, and plus all the awesome cartoons and video games that we were playing back in the day, and now too. And sometimes I wonder what that has an effect on the time and reality and the multiverse itself.
What about the metaverse?
And I'm still kind of learning what this whole metaverse thing is, actually, because I remember playing Second Life back in the day, and that might have been just an early rendition, I mean, you probably know more about it than me.
Well, I've been reading about it, and I think that the only reason why I bring it up is because, like I say, you have a background in games and
Yes,
3D
yes.
art and all this, and I think that one of the things that the internet and the multiverse, or not the multiverse, the metaverse is um, kind of exploiting is the witchcraft that
Mm,
exists on the internet. And I don't think
yes,
people understand meme magic. I don't think they
yes,
understand how memes are activated sigils online.
yes. And I have delved into this because I do notice patterns
Hmm.
within movies, media, comics, and certain agendas that, get pushed, or certain like ways of social engineering and stuff. And so, like, I mean, and this sort of thing goes all the way back to like John Dee, Empire of
Ed Kelly,
Angels
yeah. But
type
they
thing.
would
Because,
sing their tonal. They were
yes,
intoning. I mean, for those of you that don't know, John Dee and Ed Kelly were magicians during the Elizabethan period, and they had what is known as the Enochian keys
hmm,
to open a stairway to heaven,
yep,
or some people think a stairway to hell, or whatever. But what they'd have to do is they'd have to sing the language, and they had to empower, and they have these sigils
yes.
that were represent. I mean, people don't realize that A, B, C, D, E, F, G, the alphabet, are sigils.
Oh,
We activate them in order to communicate,
yeah.
and they send a message.
And then sound, tone, vibration. And so, I mean, what they did back, in their era, because they had all of that knowledge, they terraformed, reality at the time to bend to their will, to bend to the will
Hmm.
of, the empire that they were working for.
Right.
So who's to say that other magicians, other empires, other corporations aren't doing that now?
Don't
I mean,
memes bend the
I'm
will of the communication that's on the
exactly.
internet
And what and
and algorithms?
I mean, and so I've had this theory for a few years now about the whole, like, so Jack Parsons, Aleister Crowley, L. Ron Hubbard did kind of the same thing as what John Dee did in
Hmm.
terraforming reality, because that made way for the space program and the technology and all that.
Hmm.
And also terraformed reality to quite possibly be hospitable to those of their ilk.
Well, and it's funny because you're talking about Jack Parsons, who was with JPL, and he was a
Hmm.
magician as well.
Yes.
He followed under the Ordo Templi Orientis, and L. Ron Hubbard worked with him to bring about the change, which is a spell that they cast
Yes.
following Dee and Kelly and Aleister Crowley. I mean, we can get into that coming
Oh,
up. We're
man.
going to do another break. A lot of interesting stuff with Cortana right here on Channel Weird. We'll be back. On the phone with me is Ronnie from getthetea.com. Hey, Ronnie, it is the tea that makes you go, I know this because I use it. My favorite is pomegranate. What kind of flavors are there to choose from with this wonderful tea?
You can do pomegranate. You can do just the straight, which is real good. And also we have a mint, a peppermint. People really love that one too. And we have a couple new flavors on the way, which I will not discuss yet, but they're coming.
A lot of people don't know that peppermint is a very, very good supplement to keep the stomach happy. It relaxes the intestines, and once again, it makes you feel better because it allows them to move around and get that stuff out of you, that bad stuff out of you.
Absolutely. This is a digest mover. So people have a hard time digesting stuff, or you get something stuck, or maybe you're a real heavy meat eater. The tea is wonderful. That's why it's tagline, the tea that makes you go.
If I want my life to change and get the tea, where do I go to get it?
Getthetea.com. That's getthetea, TEA.com.
Fantastic. Hey guys, it's Clyde Lewis. Have you ever wanted Ground Zero merchandise but didn't know where to go? Well, I want to let you know that we now have our own online store with such items as t-shirts, hoodies, decals, tote bags, and other exclusive specialty apparel. There's a secure and easy-to-use shopping cart for your purchases. Coming soon will be signed posters and coffee mugs available as we are constantly adding new items. So shop today at the official Ground Zero store by going to groundzeromerch.com. That's groundzeromerch.com.
It's all over the news, food shortages and scarcity in the supply chain, and the reality is nobody truly knows what might happen in the near future. Hi, I'm Clyde Lewis, and I want to let you know that it's a good idea to plan ahead so you aren't caught off guard. Nothing's more important than having enough food to eat, and we're here to help. We highly recommend My Patriot Supply, America's leading emergency preparedness company. They provide long-term emergency food that lasts up to 25 years in storage. When grocery stores run empty or disasters strike, their foods will be there when you need them most. Act now and secure at least a 4-week emergency food kit full of tasty meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. They have dozens of emergency food storage kits to choose from, along with a variety of other survival products. If the government tells you not to go out, you can have the peace of mind that comes from being prepared. After you order from My Patriot Supply, your food will arrive discreetly at your doorstep. Prepare today, because time is short. Go to preparewithgroundzero.com. That's preparewithgroundzero.com.
AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Are you stressed? I mean, who isn't? Anxiety creeping in? No, not that. Is sleep hard to attain because your brain just won't slow down? We're living in crazy times, and the fear knob has been turned up. Okay, there's an answer. Take a big breath, exhale, and go log on to AncientLifeOil.com. CBD, broad and full spectrum, organic and non-GMO CBD for you to enjoy. Change your tune from fear to calm, from brain overload to clear thinking. 0.003 THC on full spectrum and 0% THC on broad spectrum. Competitive pricing with the best quality. Also know everything is going to get better. No worries, be happy. CBD can help calm so your nerves don't think they're a 6-string electric guitar. Enjoy life, smile, and log on to AncientLifeOil.com for great CBD. That's AncientLifeOil.com. You'll be glad you did.
It's a well-known fact that controversial talk show hosts have recently been censored and even banned on the internet by corporate and political interests. Hey guys, it's Clyde Lewis from Ground Zero. And in order to counter the suppression of information, we've decided to create our own private digital playground called Aftermath. It's an exclusive online multimedia library featuring a social media platform, videos, audio clips, archive shows, research groups, documents, and a news aggregator. In addition, we're hosting other Ground Zero-friendly podcasts like Conspirafact with Wes and Bill, Into the Microcosm with Jimmy Jean, Parawareness with Mr. Gates and Isaac Weishaupt, Opposing Perspective with James Ponder, The Infinite Fringe with Billy Ray Valentine, and several more shows. Mobile apps for Android and Apple are available too. The monthly subscription for Aftermath is only $10 a month. And don't forget to check out the yearly specials, including the Friends and Family Pass with 1 main account and 3 sub-accounts. Sign up now by going to aftermath.media. Again, that's aftermath.media.
Hey, it's Channel Weird. We're with Cortana, and a fascinating discussion about leading ourselves through this esoteric world and the computer, and the idea of John Dee and Ed Kelly, Aleister Crowley, Jack Parsons, L. Ron Hubbard. All of them were trying to create the new era or push us into a new era, and they did so using magic.
Yes.
And bringing about was like the Babylon Working is one title that sticks out in my mind, and a few other things. And for people that don't know what we're talking about, you can always look it up and read about it. It's a fascinating thing. It especially goes back to the atomic bomb and everything.
The atomic age,
technology,
exactly. NASA, JPL.
And now we're going from an atomic age to more of an electronic inner space age, which again, we were kind of hovering around the talk of the metaverse and what it all means. And I had a discussion with Alana Freeland about Rudolf Steiner.
Mhm.
And a lot of people, if you haven't read Rudolf Steiner, you need to read Rudolf Steiner, because he was a visionary at the turn of the 20th century, and talking about a lot of esoteric topics. And one of the things he brought up was the eighth sphere. And he said that the eighth sphere is a sphere of consciousness, or like it's like creating our own planet within our own reality.
Mhm.
And I think he was speaking of the metaverse. I think that he probably had this vision that there would be a way that we would create this counterfeit life. Counterfeit is really a harsh word, but still,
Yeah.
it is not a real life. It's a simulated life where you go into the metaverse and you basically lose yourself. And a lot of people see that as probably a metaphoric version of the lake of fire, a metaphoric version of going into hell. What are your thoughts on that?
Or it's a version of, being able to hijack human consciousness or prolong life. I mean, it's right there in the media. I mean, if anybody's ever seen Altered Carbon, and then you just sort of looked around and been like, the technology is recording absolutely everything that we do,
Right.
like our behavior patterns. It's patterning our behaviors. And, we were talking about social engineering, a few minutes ago. Who's to say that our consciousness or our own personal narratives aren't being hijacked for perhaps greedy, nefarious purposes?
Well, you I don't know if you know this or not, but Dr. Malone, the man who created the mRNA vaccine, is saying now that the world is in a mass formation psychosis. And that was trending on the internet a couple days ago, where people were trying to figure out what mass formation psychosis was. And he said that mass formation psychosis happens when powerful individuals tell people how they should live their lives, and they use fear, and they
Yes.
use intimidation, and they use coercion, and all those things are being used now. Every time I hear people who are praising the way the government's handling things because of political reasons, I look at them and say, no rational person on this planet, in my opinion, can say that what's going on right now is good for us. Coercing people to getting a vaccine if they don't want to get it, and they lose
And
their job. That's
I
like
mean,
saying, I'm going to have
this
sex
was
with you, and you're going to like it. And I mean, it's like that's what it is. Yeah, it's like if you were to work in a job,
my
and
body, my
yeah,
choice kind of
if I were
thing.
your boss and I said to you, look,
like,
you're not going to keep your job unless you have sex with me, or
oh
you're not going to keep
God.
your job. And it's the same thing. You're not going to keep your job unless you get an injection.
And that's a heavy topic, because it is like, well, what is it about, what my body, my choice? And what I do have a lot of concerns about, is because, well, I have a chronic illness, flare-ups types of things, and it's a genetic condition. And what if, certain people have genetic conditions where they are unable to, participate?
Right.
And
It's not a one size fits
it's
all.
not a one size fits all, and because it might cause inscrutable pain or whatever.
Are you noticing all the young people dying?
Yeah, I have.
I see it on the
have.
internet all the time.
Over the past
that's one of
3
the reasons
years.
why. I mean,
And I wonder, because I really do feel a supreme sadness for my generation, because we were coming up and it was like, boom, 9/11.
you're all dying now.
9/11. Yeah.
Right.
Like I've been reading that our life expectancy has gone down, and
Yeah.
it's like we are a scarred generation, because, okay, 9/11 happens, and that probably, tore a rift into the multiverse as well, with the shock of that energy. So
Life
it's
and
already,
paradox.
yes. Well, I
That's what-
mean,
yeah.
Mandela effect, all that stuff. We could go there too.
What do you think about
like-
the theory that the world did end in 2012? It ended because they found the Higgs boson at CERN, and that the universe
Oh,
we basically flashed into another universe without even knowing about it.
I believe, yeah, it split. Oh, I do.
Yeah.
I believe that there was a split.
I'm leaning towards it.
Something went
split the timeline.
askew.
Yeah.
Something went askew, and things have been wonky ever
Because
since.
Stephen Hawking
And then-
said if they found the Higgs boson, we would start seeing a deterioration in our lives, and we'd see a deterioration in the earth. And it would be volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, bad weather, everything would happen, and it would signify that the earth has gone through a traumatic experience. And that and you start seeing human beings going through mass formation psychosis,
Well,
and it's happening. And it's just
the
creepy.
Kali Yuga.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and sometimes I feel that it was kind of brought about, well, like consecutively. You might even want to start with like the atom bomb,
Yeah.
rippling through and the devastating effects of that, and other
Then the
things,
atom
and
bomb, you
then
have 9/11,
9/11.
which was a time sink changing,
Yes.
everything, every direction we
And
went.
we're going
And then
into
COVID-19
timelines.
is another one that basically has
Yes.
turned us into even less normality,
Yes.
more no-touch torture. It's just people
It's
don't get it. They just don't understand how detrimental this has been to us.
And I mean, for someone like me who's been, being an avid listener of Art Bell back in the day, and George Norrie, and all of them, all y'all. Just like, yeah, we saw it coming.
Yeah.
We saw it coming, and we were like, hey.
Yeah, in the 27 years,
hey.
28 years I've been doing Ground Zero, I've talked about this and I've said it's coming, it's happening. But what I didn't count on was how easy I'd see people around me acquiescing to it instead of saying, we don't need to live like this. And they're just finally coming around to saying, well, we're going to have to live with the idea that COVID-19 is going to be with us for a long time. And I'm thinking, okay, so that means we're going to get on with our lives and we're going to realize it's just one more thing that's going to kill us. And I thought of it that way when I first heard it anyway. I thought it's like cancer. It's like heart disease. It's like just one more thing that can kill us in the world, because the world is a hostile place. And if we continue to go in with our lives afraid of living.
Yes, exactly.
And we're afraid of living now. We're languishing. We have this sense of ennui. It doesn't make any sense anymore. Nothing does.
Oh yeah. The isolation, and then so like most people's interaction these days are through the phone or the screen or the social media, and it's like we're afraid of each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we're all just like reaching for each other, but our hands are cut off in a way.
We're like Tyrannosaurus Rex trying to pay the check. We can't do it. I'll get the check. You can't. Yeah, it's the same thing. I get. Yeah, I agree.
I mean,
so do you think our fate is the metaverse because of this? I mean, just
because
one more way to be artificial to each other, right?
Right.
And then the whole purpose is to quantify the soul.
Yes.
Put it in a
Put
computer.
it in a jar.
Yeah, put it in a jar. And then put it in a jar or put it in the blender and turn it on and pour it down the drain. It's basically,
we're getting bleak here.
Let's end on a bleak note. We're done, right? We're finished. I wish it wasn't, because
I wish it wasn't.
I mean, I know we're wrapping up. So thank you, Cortana. Oh, this is the last break? Oh, we get to go one more time.
All right, because man, let's talk about something amazing next.
No, we're not doing that at all. We'll be back.
It's a well-known fact that controversial talk show hosts have recently been censored and even banned on the internet by corporate and political interests. Hey guys, it's Clyde Lewis from Ground Zero. And in order to counter the suppression of information, we've decided to create our own private digital playground called Aftermath. It's an exclusive online multimedia library featuring a social media platform, videos, audio clips, archive shows, research groups, documents, and a news aggregator. In addition, we're hosting other Ground Zero friendly podcasts like Conspirafact with Wes and Bill, Into the Microcosm with Jimmy Jean, Para-Awareness with Mr. Gates and Isaac Weishaupt, Opposing Perspective with James Ponder, The Infinite Fringe with Billy Ray Valentine, and several more shows. Mobile apps for Android and Apple are available too. The monthly subscription for Aftermath is only $10 a month. And don't forget to check out the yearly specials, including the Friends and Family Pass with one main account and 3 sub-accounts. Sign up now by going to aftermath.media. Again, that's aftermath.media.
Ground Zero with Clyde Lewis, live Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific. But what happens when you miss an episode? Aftermath.fm is the official free streaming network of Ground Zero, featuring some of the top voices in paranormal and parapolitical radio and podcasts, such as The Leo Zagami Show, Into the Microcosm with Jimmy Jean, The Secret Teachings with Ryan Gable, The Kev Baker Show, The Infinite Fringe with Billy Ray Valentine, and much, much more. What are you waiting for? Head on over to aftermath.fm right now and get complete on-demand access to the Ground Zero archives, as well as the works of a dozen other hosts. Sign up right now and get complete access to our study groups, videos, and document archives, and connect with other listeners on our private social media network. Aftermath.fm, home of quality counterculture talk radio. Aftermath.fm.
AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Are you stressed? I mean, who isn't? Anxiety creeping in? No, not that. Is sleep hard to attain because your brain just won't slow down? We're living in crazy times, and the fear knob has been turned up. Okay, there's an answer. Take a big breath, exhale, and go log on to AncientLifeOil.com. CBD, broad and full spectrum, organic and non-GMO CBD for you to enjoy. Change your tune from fear to calm, from brain overload to clear thinking. 0.003 THC on full spectrum and 0% THC on broad spectrum. Competitive pricing with the best quality. Also know everything is going to get better. No worries, be happy. CBD can help calm so your nerves don't think they're a 6-string electric guitar. Enjoy life, smile, and log on to AncientLifeOil.com for great CBD. That's AncientLifeOil.com. You'll be glad you did.
I'm happy to say we have one more segment with Cortana.
Yes.
Here, I thought that
It's only
if we ended on
rocketing off to space from here, dude.
we brought the room down, you know.
So,
and I'm thinking,
it got real, man. It got real, though.
We brought the room down, and now we're going to try and bring it back up again because we were discussing during the break. What are we going to do to change this? I don't know.
Because it is a time
paradigm we're in,
and paradigm shift, right? Shift happens. I mean, that's the name of the show that I started. Shout out to Shift Happens, Gigi. You're awesome. Thank you for everything. Okay, so this paradigm shift, how do we bring about? Because, well, how do we bring about the feeling and togetherness and this whole paradigm shift that we're supposed to be on, that all these woo woo
all the woo woo new age nonsense
agey
isn't going to
was
put
like,
us in any it's not working.
But the thing is well,
it's not the antidote. It's like a vaccine. It doesn't work.
No, I don't have any. I'm
well, it's like everybody has this panacea that they want us to all try.
Well, maybe I'm going to say a bit of a panacea, and it might be the use of psychedelics. Actually,
well, that's the trend.
Okay,
people get LSD, psilocybin, and DMT.
We are, and with the more growing acceptance.
Meditate, be kind to those around you, live without needing a digital existence. Spooky says this.
Yes.
Very good, Spooky.
Yes. I appreciate that. Yes. Yeah. With the growing acceptance of psychedelics for the use of both recreational and like for treating things like post-traumatic stress disorder or things like severe anxiety, depression, etc. These are tools that can bring about a new paradigm. I mean, most recently, actually, I went on a retreat to go do 5-MeO DMT, which is one of the most powerful psychedelics known to man.
And what was it like?
Oh my God. Okay, so it was a whole experience. We had this nice retreat in an undisclosed location out in the forest, very pretty. And so before we took the 5-MeO DMT, which is from the Sonoran desert toad, which they're an endangered species and they really need to be respected and cared for. And so before that, we did what's called Sapo or Combo, which is it's what Amazonian warriors use to when they go hunting to give them like extrasensory perception and alertness.
Mhm.
And what they do is that they burn it into the skin. And for about 15 minutes it is the worst stomach like nausea that you've ever had. And then you are on top of the world and you sense that the forest is alive. And it's like you see in more vivid like accuracy. Like if you were having eye problems, it would just, for that amount of time. And it was like I was connected and aware of absolutely everything.
Mhm.
And then we went to do the 5-MeO DMT ceremony, which is inhaled. And they put down a mat and they're playing music and guiding you, and chanting through the experience, because what you're doing is you are inhaling the venom of a Sonoran desert toad. And then all of a sudden, so I'm standing there and I was working through a lot of very personal, deep, emotional stuff. And then boom, I'm out. They catch me and I am blasted off to where it was like the earth was embracing me. And it was like I was being hugged. I saw this flash of light and everything just seemed so much brighter, so much oneness, so much connection.
Terrence McKenna,
with
when he
the
talked about
universe.
DMT,
Yes.
and he said that they're machine elves, which are entities. They call them machine elves. Have you seen them?
I felt like I was getting hugged by every god I did or didn't believe in. Like it was as I was seeing Ganesha, I was seeing Rama, I was seeing Krishna and Parvati and Shiva, and then I started ecstatically chanting. And I came out of that experience with just this, like, there is something out there.
Mhm.
There is something out there above that layer.
Well, see, people don't realize that DMT, even though people are taking it and they're going on these highs, DMT is released in the body naturally.
Yes.
And it's done when you dream, and it's done when you die. It's released before you die, which some people say could be the reason why we have these afterlife experiences, or we have these life experiences when we die. And so now they've found a way to enhance or to find this type of, I guess you could call it psychedelic. It's a component that makes you do this, and it does it when you're wide awake now.
And 5-MeO is a different, chemical to
Right.
DMT, which I've also had those experiences, and I do believe that it does peel back the veil of reality.
It activates the
Or
part
not
of the brain that
reality,
they've
or
shut
the
down.
3D. Yes.
That they've decided to shut down.
Yes.
So, I had Chris Sherry Gio on the show to talk about it on my show. Ground Zero.
And it, if you were ever wondering, is there something out there? And also, if there's more to life than just this, weird existence that we got going on here. Yeah, there is, and it is out there, and it loves you.
Right. It's amazing to think.
Call it God, call it universe, and we are in charge of our own wills, and never forget that, because it is precious.
I've gotten into quantum immortality ideas because of the interest in science and panpsychism, the idea that everything has a consciousness.
Yes.
And I don't know. I mean, it used to be science would laugh at something like that, but now they're beginning to think that there is consciousness in all things. And I think it's because they want to convert that consciousness to digital. And I think that that's going to be the future. And it's going to, I think, destroy a bit of our humanity to have that consciousness pumped into digital.
And that is our choice, whether we choose to subscribe to that or not, or we create our own realities, our own digital paradises,
right.
Our own collectives of, love, understanding.
Well, now we're on a high note.
Woo-woo and UFOs and aliens.
Cortana, we ended on a high note. Thank you.
It was highest. It's 12 dimensional.
Thank you so much for being a part of Channel Weird today. I really appreciate it. Good you're in Portland, too.
I am so glad I'm here, man.
I'm glad you're here, too. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us. And You'll hear
Also,
more of Cortana.
I am on Twitter as Empress Cortana, and I do have an OnlyFans.
Oh, good. All right, great.
Oh, good.
Anyway, thanks, guys. We'll see you soon. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.